Hi, everybody. It's a middle-aged guy here. I'm doing a series of interviews with local businesses, talking about their products and services, how they got to where they are today, and what technologies and social media platforms they're using. I'm calling the series Nextdoor Chat. I'm interested in a new app called Nextdoor. Nextdoor provides a secure platform for neighbors to talk to neighbors and also for neighbors and neighborhoods to find out about local products and services. I'm hoping this series will give you insights, spark ideas to take into your own business. In these, let's face it, challenging times. Okay, let the chats begin. Let's go. See you in the chat. Bye.
Yes, well, initially we were wholesaling beautiful artisan quality wines from very small producers that otherwise had never exported before, maybe second, third generation families from Italy, where we lived for many years in the heart of the Veneto wine region. And we wanted to introduce these producers that have never been exposed to the export market before to this market in Northern Ireland, where I'm originally from, although my husband isn't. So we eventually came back here and started importing, and we were selling to the Merchant Hotel and Docks and James Street South, all the top restaurants in Northern Ireland. So we did quite well on the wholesale side of things. And at the same time, in the last year, we were developing a very large project to sell throughout Europe online, which is really my background because I used to be head of digital at the Belfast Telegraph. I've exited successfully from a .com venture before, so I was very keen to get the wines online, but it would be a big European-wide project. So we were planning to go on to Crowdcube to raise $1 million for that just when the crisis hit, but we were all ready to go. And we were planning to do a very, very sophisticated website with the IRP commerce guys down in Titanic. You probably heard of them before. They developed famously the Chain Reaction bicycle shop in Ballyclare into the world's largest, turning over 170 million a year. So we are still planning to develop that site, but in the meantime, when the bottom fell out of our world, for the wholesale side of the business, we just got a very, very fast e-commerce site up quickly on WooCommerce. And that launched since the beginning of April, and it's just been a huge success so far.
Your product offering is basically, it sounds as if it's niche wines from a specific area in Italy, and they are locally grown. You obviously know the producers, etc., etc. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. But not just from Italy, because when we were servicing the wholesale sector here in Northern Ireland, we were doing whole wine lists, for instance, for Fish City in Ann Street, we did the whole wine list. So we needed to have wines from all countries, really. She wanted to have New Zealand, Australian wines, Spanish wines, French wines, as well as the Italian wines. So we do import from other countries as well.
And did you follow the same model there where you were looking at sort of niche wines from those other countries as well?
That's our USP. It's hard to differentiate yourself in this market with the larger players that are here. There's a lot of commercial wines in the market. We're very much anti-commercial wines. These commercial wines would be brands that they think up. No winemaker anywhere near them. They buy in bulk wine and they bottle maybe 12 million bottles. That's the antithesis of what we are.
But let's just talk about the wine industry. You had no prior to living in Italy, you had no real connection with that industry or any knowledge of that industry.
Well, I did it in a way because I was consulting when I had my own digital marketing agency for Diageo. And that was through a friend that I've had actually for 20 years. Unfortunately, he died 3 years ago, but he was the biggest wine buyer in the world. He bought for the Diageo group. So I went on a 2-week holiday with him and his wife to the wine route in South Africa. We were met at the airport with a limousine, and red carpet and all of that because of who he was. And so he taught me a lot about wine. So yeah, I did have a lot of exposure to the industry through him and his teams in Diageo and Guinness here in Belfast too. And they would have very much been on the commercial side of the business. Yes, they did import some nice wines, but they were selling to bars, of course, so they would have had some lower level commercial wines too. So I did get a good insight to the industry before living in the Veneto region, but really learned about wine and winemaking from those small producers.
Wow, fantastic. And then, so when did you start the business in back home here in Belfast? So when did that actually start?
In May 2016.
Let's go on to the next part of your journey of reinventing yourself. So you start off May 2016. You probably took over some sort of warehouse here in Belfast, office space, and then you basically, knocked on doors and grew the business that way. Is that correct? Or
That's correct, except when you import wine, you don't really have your own warehouse to that degree because it has to sit under bond in a bonded
okay.
warehouse, an HMRC bonded warehouse, which everyone uses here down at Dargan Crescent at the docks, Edgewater Road. So that's where all our stock is until we take it out, and then we have to pay the excise duty on it. So yeah, we do have some wines out of bond for our e-commerce side of our business, but anything for wholesale, we keep under bond until the orders come in.
Okay. And so then everything was sailing along. So from May 2016 to say, we got through the big B thing that happened, the other big elephant in the room. I mean, can you just maybe mention that? Say, that's at the start. I mean, we had the referendum in June 2016. How has that impacted on you?
Yes, well, immediately that had an instant effect on us because in the wholesale sector, your margins are very, very tight and always being squeezed. And every year, excise duty for wines was being hammered and put up again. And of course, your customers don't like you to bring in a price increase. And you have to wait to see, do your other competitors bring in a price increase as well to see if you can afford to do that. Of course, we just had to do the price increase for the excise duty that year. And then when Brexit happened, because we're buying wines in euros, sterling went through the floor against the euro. So buying wines for us was so much more expensive because of the effect of Brexit on sterling. So that was the initial effect. I mean, that went on for a year before we even got to the stage of going ahead with Brexit because of all the uncertainty and the effect on sterling. That was an immediate effect. And we weren't able to pass those costs on to the customers either. So that really, in the last year, squeezed our margins so tight. It really made us decide, look, our future is maybe not going to be in traditional wholesale the way it is at the moment, although we still will have a business-to-business aspect to our business. We need to go for the higher margin direct-to-consumer market online. And we want to do that in a big way, a very big way. We want to locate our logistics hub, e-commerce 360-degree logistics hub in Spain, where all of the stock will be sent to. And from there, because we'll have all these beautiful artisan wines from around Europe, we can also offer a website for business to business. So if, for instance, a wine bar or an off-license, an independent off-license wants to order a minimum of a mixed palette of all these beautiful wines, they can do that. So that will be our new wholesale model. It will have decent enough margins, not like the margins we're getting here. And then we'll also have the much higher retail margins as well.
Okay. So great. Okay. So just pulling you back a little bit. So whenever things were you even got pushed even more, say 2018, you were getting even pushed even more. And
Yes.
then even before the current crisis that we're in,
it was bad enough already.
It wasn't bad enough. Like I genuinely thought there was a glimmer of hope for us all whenever we finally got our devolved government sort of kind of back again.
Yes.
I thought that the ship was beginning to steady again, with progress was being made. But already you were already thinking of how, by just taking in the local circumstances and the currency wars or currency contacts, whatever you want to call it, you were already beginning to think how where we're going to have to move here.
Yes.
So really, this crisis that we're in has really accelerated that. Is that correct?
Very much so, but we never really foresaw, the extent to which the online sales would take off, with everyone in lockdown, because we already had an Amazon operation for the last year. We were selling direct to consumer all across the UK, 48-hour delivery, but Amazon wasn't really a recognized channel for selling wines, not like Vivino, the app, which we're trying to get onto now as well. But Amazon was sort of like a sleeping giant until lockdown happened. And then all of a sudden, it's like a runaway train. Everyone realizes there's wine on Amazon. And we've just been inundated. We're selling as much on Amazon now as we are on the new website. So it's sort of half and half.
And so is that so? You were still doing your normal operations here, B2B work, but really you were already looking how we go B2C, just directly to consumer. So
Yes.
you were saying that how did you start that? Did you just initially go on to, was it Amazon was your first port of
Yes.
call? Or
Yes, we did.
and,
We went to Amazon.
okay, and then you mentioned another app, which I don't know. You mentioned another
There's an app for
wine.
wine lovers with 41 million targeted wine consumers worldwide, and it's called Vivino. So it is the planet
Vino? Okay.
Vivino. So it is the planet's largest wine app and wine hub. They do sell their own wines, but they also allow merchants to sell on it as well. And every now and again, they open up merchant applications and then they close them again, especially for the UK because they're really in demand. Obviously, everyone wants access to that audience. Amazon's great, but obviously Vivino is very, very targeted. So all of our wines, because they've never exported before, what we would find when we go on Vivino is no one else is selling the same wines. Very often on Vivino, you'll see pricing from 3 or 4 different sellers, but no one else will have our wines. We are the only ones who will have our wines, and people won't have heard of them before. So what they look at is really to allow a merchant onto Vivino is the rating of the wine. So if people have been out in the merchant hotel here or other restaurants, they'll have given the wines a rating. They take a photograph of the label and they say, oh, this tasted like X, Y, Z, and here are the aromas in it, and this is my score. So what Vivino look is for a score of 3.9 or more on your wines to allow you on there.
Oh, so it's really all testimonial sort of review based. That's all part of it as well. Oh, fantastic! I will have a look at this.
Peer reviewed.
Okay, very good. So there was Amazon Vino, and then you developed your own commerce, a website which is based on WooCommerce, which I've heard of. And how is that developing as well? And then how are you promoting? Obviously, you're going on Amazon. They're taking a little cut. I suppose you're trying to push your own website, WooCommerce.
Yes. And when we get sales on Amazon, we do tend to get repeat sales because people love the wines, and that's been the same pattern with the website as well. We have so many. I mean, I would say from the 1st of April, we have a lot of customers who have ordered from us between 4 and 6 times. They've
wow. Okay.
The wines, the feedback's been amazing. And they're very thirsty.
I must admit, my alcohol consumption has went off over the lockdown period. I'm doing an on-air confession,
But with Amazon, we do get the mobile number sometimes if people remember to put it on there for their courier delivery, but we don't get their email addresses. But when I am creating the processing the order, I enter the address into a DHL shipping piece of software.
Yeah.
And we can export all the addresses. So at least we can do an offline, with our little leaflet here.
Okay, great.
Leaflet up to our previous Amazon customer. And now with any packages that we send out, we put the leaflet in as well. Okay, so that they remember to go directly to the website next time. And of course, then Amazon don't get a cut of that. It's direct to us.
And does your website go across all the platforms, laptop, tablet, and mobile? Does it automatically take over all those? Yeah.
Yes, it's a responsive website, yeah.
Okay. And then moving on in terms of social media, I mean, how have you grown that presence?
Yes, we are. We have a Facebook page, obviously a business page. We have Twitter, we have Instagram. And part of our bigger strategy for Europe, we have already identified, we've spoken with the biggest influencers in wine in each country. And there's one guy in particular who's a winemaker in Spain, but he happens to be English. And he has written a book about all the small producers in Spain. So what we're going to do is we're going to put those people on retainer for us in those countries. And they will go around all the vineyards that we're identifying to come on to Wines with Stories, to sign them up, to come on to Wines with Stories, and they will do all the tasting notes for us, and they will do all the blogging and across their own social media channels, which are massive and very targeted for wine. So we do that, but also we're doing some very big celebrity coverage. We have a very good publicist on our side who works for Brian Kennedy and Nathan Carter and some big celebrity people, so she's a lot of celebrity contacts. And this week we're actually featuring on There's a YouTube channel called Wonderbirds. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, it'll be on Wonderbirds with Sherry Hewson and Julie Peabody. You'll recognize her if you Google her. She's very famous. She's been on all the soaps, and they've all been in Hollyoaks. So they're all on this Wonderbirds channel talking on Zoom, and they have celebrity guests like Gok Kwan and Richard Arnold. Yeah. So they've all received our wines this week, and they're all doing a big tasting tomorrow morning. So we had a week-long promotion on U105 with Carolyn Stewart as well.
Okay.
A different case of wine every day, so that went well too.
I'm sure that was a great radio broadcast if they were sampling as they went along. Now, I found out about you via the Nextdoor app. Basically, how have you found it's a new sort of local Facebook or local form of local business app? How have you found the Nextdoor app?
Well, I've noticed that I put a little business post on, a paid for post, and just to try it out. And it seems that about 190 people have saved the post. And we've had one inquiry from someone so far. So a lot of people are thinking about it, but they haven't actually taken the step to order yet. So maybe they're just running down their supermarket stock before they before they get onto it, you know. I hope it will be successful. Well,
hopefully it'll keep growing with the Nextdoor app. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the Nextdoor app and how you've interacted with it? Have you found it easy to use, or?
Yes, it's very easy to use. I've set up a business page on it. I put some posts on as well as the paid for thing. I've also been using it just to chat with people about the coronavirus situation. So I actually created a forum page that everybody has followed in this area for coronavirus and just chatting to people in general. So yeah, it's a very, very useful app.
Thank you very much for the time today. Certainly, I think if at all possible, let's come back whenever you're about to do the raise with Crowdcube. Would be great. We could do have another chat then. So thank you very much for your time today, and thank you.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Bye bye.